Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it is time for another episode of the House Husband Diaries. As always, I am your host, Carter C., and today we are finally for me, getting to a brief history of government spending, which I know y'all are unbelievably excited for. You've been waiting for this just as long as I have been waiting to do an episode on this. Now, what I'm learning about myself, which I already knew, I guess, so I'm not really learning it, is I'm a fiscally conservative kind of guy, and that is a personal choice, but it's also a what I like to see in my government. My elected officials, I make sound financial decisions. Now, I like to have fun. So I'm not opposed to setting aside some money and saying, hey, here's our play fund, here's our vacation fund, here's something. And if we don't have money, we don't do it. If we do have money, let's go do it. And I'll make some silly decisions. If you have money set aside, go big. If you've got it, and if you don't have it, don't. Go small. Yeah, there were many days where all I did was eat, dry pasta and frozen veggies and water, because that was the cheapest thing I could find, and peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, and and there are times where we still do that, but it's when you need to tighten your belt, you tighten your belt, and I think that's something that I don't really see in our government. And so this episode and kind of the research and the conversation that I'm having and hoping to have further on down the line, and you guys comment and let me know what you think, and you can email me, carter@hhdiaries.com. But it's really just looking at the history, and it's really the past 25 years or so. And that was it, the kind of the quick and dirty spending was just more recent, the last quarter century, and really saying, okay, if we're going to get out of some of these holes, I mean, the last 25 years is really when 35 years is really when we started. 80s was really when we started doing some of the moving manufacturing to other countries and globalization, beginning that whole trend, if you will. And one of the things, there's a good quote that I read a long time ago. I don't remember where I got it, what book, but it says, "Don't tear down a fence before you know why it was built in the first place." I'm paraphrasing, and I think that's a really good. It's a really good quote, just words of wisdom to live by. Like, if you come into a situation, you say, oh, down with the Fed, or down with, the Republicans, or down with the Democrats, or down with our political system. And, if you're just trying to tear fences down, it's not really productive, because you don't know why the fence was built in the first place. What was the historical, necessity? What were the factors that led to the people back whenever something was instituted saying, hey, things are in this, because we're in this situation, we need this fence. And this fence is the best decision we can make right now. And I think and I don't mean that as like the border wall for Trump, okay? So I'm not not equating that. So I actually don't believe in the wall at all. I think that's a total waste. Yeah, if people want to come over into the country, they're going to come over into the country. They're either going to dig under it, they're going to climb over it. It's just fences just for looks, but that's a whole nother thing. So I guess I should say, since I just said that, buckle up if you're super conservative. This video is not going to probably sit well. And for those of you who are more liberal and left-leaning, who call me a Trump homer, this is the video you have been waiting for. I should have led with that, right? That would have gotten everybody's attention. But it's you don't tear down a fence just because it's there and you don't like it. You need to know why it was put up in the first place. Is there a ginormous aggressive dog in the neighbor's yard, and that fence is there to keep that dog in their yard. And if you tear down the ugly fence, that dog is going to eat you. Basically, what we're saying. So, I'm for being more fiscally responsible. Now, what I will do over the course of the coming months is dig into some of these, some of the federal budget and what are we spending all of this money on? Because our federal budget, as I'll show you in the next couple minutes, has just increased exponentially over the last 25 years. And, I don't think that my life has gotten that much better over the last 25 years because of government spending. And I doubt your life has gotten that much better over the last 25 years because the government spends more money. You know what I mean? So maybe if it has, let me know. I'd love to know reasons why it has and who has benefited from that. Now, I highly doubt the people that are benefiting from backroom deals and, huge military contracts and stuff. I highly doubt, one, you're watching my videos, and two, you're going to publicly comment that you are a recipient of tons of money from the government. It's probably not going to happen. So, without further ado, let's get into it. In 1996, that's where we start. It's where Wikipedia started, let's be honest. Wikipedia, what would we do without you? It would be a lot more work to research. So take it for what it's worth, but I put it out there just as a starting point. I never say that I have all the answers or that everything I say is fact, but I try to do my best with the time constraints that I have. And so in 1996, the federal spending was $1.6 trillion under Bill Clinton. $1.6 trillion. You know what's interesting? In a video I did, a few days ago, a week ago, so that Thursday, way back when last week, when we had like the biggest drop since 1987 in the stock market, the Federal Reserve, if you've been watching my videos, pumped $1.5 trillion into our financial system in one afternoon. 1.5 trillion. Just 24 years ago, our entire federal budget spending was 1.6 trillion. Only 100 billion more. Isn't that interesting? Why couldn't they just cut us all checks 24 years ago? I don't know. It's interesting. All right. It's not the main point, but it's a point. So in 1996, all of our government spending was $1.6 trillion. In 2001, Clinton's last year, or last budget, $1.9 trillion. So it's only 6 years. So he had 2 more years. I don't know what his first budget was, like with the spending. I didn't find that number, but I'll just say it was 1.5 trillion, just as a guess. I don't know. So he went up 0.4 trillion, which is basically 25% increase. Basically, just play along with me, right? Just stroke my ego. Don't stroke me. Don't stroke my ego. Let's be honest. All right. 2002, George Bush. First budget, $2 trillion. So $100 billion more than Bill Clinton's last budget. So, okay, like it's not going to be the same. Year over year, it goes up $100 billion. Okay. Fast forward 8 years, George Bush's final budget, $3.5 trillion. His first was $2 trillion. His last, $3.5 trillion. That's a 75% increase. Right? Bill Clinton's was 25% increase over his 8 years, give or take. George Bush's was 75% increase. That's not even close. I view myself as a more right-leaning person. But really what I view myself is as a fiscally conservative person. And I have been told and sort of assumed, I know what assuming does, but that the right, the Republicans, were more fiscally conservative, were more financially sound. I know the left would always say, oh, well, the right just has a war machine and they pump a lot of money. And then the left was saying, hey, supposedly when Bill Clinton came out of office, our military had not had a whole lot of spending and they were in pretty dire straits. Supposedly. All of this is supposed. They actually didn't call me up when I was, 20 years old and tell me when they were switching. Bill Clinton, when he was leaving the office and George Bush was coming into office, neither one of them called me. I don't know why. They should have, right? They should have, because then I could have done this video 20 years later and had very accurate information for all of you. You're just going to have to take that up with Bill and George, okay? Just talk to them. But that is insane. A 75% increase in 8 years of government spending. So, all right, let's keep moving on. I'll get to the bombshell at the end. I've already kind of let it slip a little bit, but Obama comes in $3.6 trillion. So George Bush's last budget was $3.5 trillion. Obama comes in 3.6, goes up $100 billion. Same as Bush, Clinton, right? So what are we spending money on? Why do we increase the budget constantly? Why are we increasing our spending constantly? It doesn't make any sense. I'm going to dig into it, but I'm asking these questions so that everyone can think about these things. So then 8 years later, Obama's final budget was $4.2 trillion for government spending, which is $600 billion or 1/6 of 1/6 increase. I didn't do that percentage, right? So let's do that, right? What is so that's only 17%, 16.5%, right? I mean, that's crazy. Good job, Obama. 25%. Bill Clinton supposedly was the last one to balance a budget. Obama never did. And Bush and Trump aren't even close. But Clinton's increased his federal spending by 25%. Bush increased his spending 75%. And then Obama increased his by 16.5%. So then Trump comes out swinging. Obama's last federal budget, 4.2 trillion. Trump comes out 4.1 trillion. He goes down 100 billion. How about them apples? Way to go, Donald Trump. For all you Trump haters out there. And then his second budget comes out at 4.4 trillion. So he went up a bunch. He made up for it. He went up 300 billion the next year. And then 2020, I'm not really sure, but this supposed, I saw a couple articles, supposed 2021 budget proposed $4.8 trillion. That is a $700 billion increase, or let's do that divided by this. He's already at 17% in just 4 years, which would be more than Obama's entire 8 years increase in federal spending. So here's what I'll say, because we're getting to time for this. The only way for our government to keep this going, and for the economy and all the stuff, Fed pumping money in and everything, the only way for us to keep the charade going is for the government to continue to spend, right? We have to keep taxing the people because we have to keep spending money. The problem is we're not spending the money on the right things. We're not decreasing our national debt. We're not funding Social Security. We're not doing the things that we need to do. We're not reining in healthcare costs, those companies, cash overseas. We're not taxing. We're not doing the things that we need to do as a country to be fiscally responsible. And that goes across the board, Democrats and Republicans. What I've seen in this is that the Democrats are better with overall spending. Now, what they spend their money on, how they spend it, I haven't really dug into it, and I don't know, how long that'll take to dig into that and do episodes on that. If you want to know, or if you already know, comment, let me know. But we have to begin trimming what we're spending. We've got to lower spending. In fact, we have to go the opposite. Not only do we need to slow the increase of our spending, we need to lower our spending. There is no reason, absolutely no reason, to go from spending $1.6 trillion as a government in 1996 to spending over $4 trillion in 2020. Period. And then, $4.5 trillion or whatever it is in 2020. And that's insane. It's insane to have expenses going up like that. Crazy. If you're running massive amounts of personal debt and you go, hey, I was spending this much in 96 and now I'm spending this much. You know what you do? You stop spending because you need to get out of debt. So instead of buying a new car or buying a new house, you just pay off your old one, or you buy a beater if your car fails or something. You figure out a way. You spend less. You buy pasta, dried pasta, and pasta sauce, and canned vegetables, and you make it last. You don't go out to 5-star restaurants or 3-star restaurants or whatever. I don't even go to fancy restaurants, right? You don't buy bottles of wine and do whatever. You just drink water. You just simmer. You know what I mean? So where do we cut government spending? I want to answer that question. I want to research what we're spending our money on, and I want to look at that because I think it's important. I think you look at these numbers and so many people go, I just don't understand trillions of dollars, and I think that's what our government representatives want. They want us to not understand and dig into these budgets, and so because there's such crazy numbers, we just go, I don't know, we'll just vote for somebody and they'll figure it out. And what we're seeing is that's not happening. So I want to know where we're spending our money. And then lastly, like I said, the big revelation is that, Republicans aren't fiscally conservative. And I think that's a huge deal. I think that's a huge, I don't know if it's a game changer for me because I don't like a lot of the other things on the left, but what I do like is I like more fiscally conservative government spending. And what we spend our money on, I think, is really important. So I think there's a second level of research that I'd like to do. And if you would like to share whatever you know about our government spending, I'd love to hear. Please comment or email, and let's have that conversation. So as always, I really appreciate you watching my videos. I hope you're having a wonderful day, no matter what you believe or think politically, whatever. I do. I hope you're having a great day. And thanks for liking the videos, subscribing. If you haven't, 40th birthday is coming up in May, trying to get to 1,000 subscribers. And it's just fun for me to do these, have these conversations. And until next time, until tomorrow, have a great day. Take care.